For years, I believed a very expensive lie. I thought that if I was the first one in the office, the last one to leave, and the one with the most certifications, the money gods would eventually reward me. I was waiting for a tap on the shoulder that never came. What I finally realized is that I had hit a ceiling that had nothing to do with the economy or my boss. I was a chronic underearner. I was what I now call a tolerance expert. I was incredibly good at tolerating low pay, tolerating being passed over for promotions, and tolerating the internal burn of being undervalued. I was choosing the safety of a low paycheck over the discomfort of a high-stakes negotiation. If your income hasn't moved in 3 years, but your workload has doubled, you aren't failing at your job. You're failing at your negotiation. I had to learn the hard way that the market doesn't pay you for your effort. It pays you for what you have the courage to demand. Today, I'm sharing the exact shift I made to stop being an overworker and start being a high earner. 1. Reframing. My shift from emotion to professional data. The biggest hurdle I had to overcome was the shame of asking for more. I used to feel like I was being greedy, or that I should just be grateful to have a seat at the table. But I had to reframe my thinking. I stopped viewing money as a personal reward and started viewing it as a professional metric. In my experience, when I was cheap, I was treated as disposable. The moment I started demanding a higher salary and higher fees, the way people looked at me changed. They didn't see me as greedy. They saw me as an authority. High earning is a mark of professional maturity. When I ask for what I'm worth, I'm signaling the quality of my output. I stopped saying, I feel like I deserve a raise, and started saying, the market value for the impact I am generating is X. I removed the I and replaced it with the result. When you remove your ego from the transaction, the fear of rejection disappears, because a no isn't a rejection of you. It's a failure of the counterparty to recognize market data. 2. The replacement cost theory. How to make yourself price insensitive. Here is a concept that changed my life. Most underearners think they are paid for their time. They aren't. You are paid based on how difficult and expensive it would be to replace you. When I was an overworker, I was doing low replacement cost tasks, busy work that anyone could do. I was busy, but I wasn't valuable. To break out of under-earning, I had to pivot my focus to high-leverage skills. I asked myself, what is the one thing I do that would take this company 6 months and $100,000 to find someone else to do? Once I identified that unicorn skill, I stopped doing the $20 an hour tasks. I specialized. I became the person who solves the expensive problems. 3. The silent zero strategy. We often lose the negotiation before we even speak because we are afraid of the silence. I used to be the person who would state a number and then immediately start justifying it. I'd like $120,000, but I'm flexible and I know the budget is tight. Stop. The moment you justify your price, you are signaling that the price is negotiable. I tested a new method, the power of the anchor. When asked for my expectations, I would provide a range where the bottom of the range was actually my dream number. And then, this is the hard part, I would go silent. In negotiation, the first person to speak after a number is mentioned is usually the one who loses leverage. I learned to sit in the discomfort of that silence. I let the other person process the anchor. By staying silent, I signaled that my value was a fact, not a suggestion. 4. Moving from hours worked to value created. The most innovative shift I made was moving away from the hourly mindset. As long as you sell your time, you have a hard ceiling on your income. There are only 24 hours in a day. I started proposing value-based agreements. Instead of saying, I will work 40 hours a week on this project, I started saying, I will deliver a 15% increase in your conversion rate. To the client, that 15% increase is worth $1 million. Whether it takes me 5 hours or 50 hours is irrelevant to them. They are paying for the outcome. This shift requires you to be an expert. You have to be confident in your ability to deliver. But once you make this jump, your earning potential becomes infinite. You are no longer a cost on the balance sheet. You are a profit center. And companies will always find money to invest in a profit center. 5. The micro-no ritual. Building your rejection muscle. You cannot be a high earner if you are addicted to being liked. Chronic under-earners are often people pleasers. We say yes to extra work, yes to coffee chats that lead nowhere, and yes to exposure instead of pay. I started a ritual I call the micro no. Every week, I forced myself to say no to one thing that felt safe but undervalued me. I said no to a project that didn't meet my new minimum fee. I said no to a client who wanted just a few small tweaks outside of our agreed scope without an invoice attached. I said no to a trial period that was actually just a way for a company to get my best ideas for free. By practicing the no in small ways, I built the emotional callousness I needed to say no to a lowball salary offer. You have to be willing to walk away from the table to be the most powerful person at the table. 6. The 100-hour rule, mastering your financial intuition. Finally, I want to talk about the 100-hour rule. I committed to spending 100 hours a year, roughly 2 hours a week, studying nothing but negotiation, high-level finance, and the psychology of influence. Most people spend 2,000 hours a year working, but 0 hours a year studying how to be paid more for that work. That is an irrational ratio. I read the books, I watch the masterclasses, and I practice my money scripts in the mirror. I treated earning like a sport. And like any athlete, I got better with training. Wealth isn't something that happens to you, it's something you negotiate into existence. The tolerance expert version of me died the day I realized that the only person responsible for my bank account was the woman in the mirror. If you are watching this and you feel that familiar burn, that feeling that you are capable of so much more, but you're stuck in a loop of good enough, listen to me. The safety you think you have in your low-paying job is an illusion. Inflation is rising. The world is changing. The only real safety is your ability to generate high value on command. Stop being an expert at tolerating a life that is smaller than your potential. Start being an expert at articulating your value. The world will pay you exactly what you have the backbone to ask for. Are you ready to stop overworking and start high earning? I want you to do one thing today. Identify your replacement cost. What is the one skill you have that makes you hard to lose? Write it down in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about real value. And if you're ready to master your mindset, your money, and your feminine power, subscribe to Smart Her Finance. We are building a new standard for what it means to be a wealthy, powerful woman. I'll see you in the next one. Stay powerful.